SimWorld, what it do? You know what time it is. Go ahead and turn your volume up. It is Blazing Takes, number one show in SimWorld. I am, of course, Rick Blaze, and my host every day, always, Siege. How we doing, brother?
We're doing great. We're living. We've made it to Hump Day, Rick, and that's all you can
Yeah,
really ask for. You know, you get to the middle of the
yep.
week, we'll make it over, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So let's start off with some hot topics today. Today in the media feed, a pretty hot topic started this morning, has gone through a couple of threads already. People have still been talking about it. People are talking about what players are top tier, and it all started because someone said, asked, is Gabe Pope ready to be in that top tier conversation? To me, top tier and elite are interchangeable when we're talking about this subject, but everyone kind of has a different qualifier for what that means. For every league, for every sport, whatever it may be, what to you puts a player in that elite or top tier category? And what are your thoughts on it as a whole?
Well, like you said, I think everyone's going to have their own metric, their own definition of it. So I'm not going to speak on behalf of everyone else. I'm just going to speak on behalf of myself. And if what I say you agree, if people agree with it, cool. If what I say people have their own definition, then that's cool too. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But to me, an elite player, all elite players, you can if you feel a player's elite, you say these three things about them. If these three things check out, then they are an elite. They are an elite category to me. So I don't look at eliteness as strictly points. People love talking points, but a guy like Draymond Green makes Golden State elite. He's elite with that team in that offense, in that system.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
whether that work with any other systems or not, he's elite in
See,
that system.
see, to me, he makes them elite by being an elite role player, but is he a top
Yes,
tier player? So I guess in his own right, he is an elite player. He's elite at
he's
what he
elite
does.
in his yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my definition is this: you have to do these three things. First of all, you have to be very, very good in at least one specific skill set or more.
But
At
Rick,
least
you
one.
you wouldn't call Draymond a top tier NBA. You wouldn't put him in the top tier of NBA players, right?
No, see, but I think top tier and elite is two different things.
Okay, so give me your elite, what your elite category is, and then tell me what makes a player in SimWorld Prep top tier. But hit me with your
All
elite
right.
first.
So my elite is it has to be three things. One, I have to have a very good skill set in something. The more skill sets you're very good in, the of course the more better of a player you can be. But you have to be better than most in one skill set at least. Number two, whether it's offensive, defensively, whatever. Number two, you have to be a tone setter for your team, which means whatever it is you bring to the team completely adapts and they fall in line with that. You have to have that, even if it's for negative, right? I'll look at Bernard James. I'm gonna give away my head. Bernard James is a top tier talent to me. Now, one of the reasons why he's very good at scoring the basketball, and number two, his energy. The team picks up on it, even when he's doing silly stuff. The team is picking up on that too. He's still leading. That's still the elite trait. Whether it's used for good or bad, it's still the elite trait. So you have to have the ability to set the tone for your team. That's number two. And number three, you have to be a smart player. You have to make smart decisions with the ball, without the ball, during the game on both sides, offensively and defensively. This is the reason why most of your prime time NBA players, their prime is in like 27, 28, 29 years old. Now I'm only 21. Now I'm only 37, unless you're LeBron James. Now when they're because at 27, 28, 29, your physical ability and your game smarts has finally caught up. You're finally now smart enough where the game becomes really slow for you. If anybody's ever played sports, you can tell when you're playing against your competition or when you're playing above your competition. The game moves really, really fast. I can tell when I haven't played basketball in a long time, full court. When I get back on the full court, I feel like everybody's running extra fast because mentally it's not slowing down for me yet. So you have to have the smarts, the intelligence. You have to have an elite or close to elite trait, and you have to be a tone setter for your team. That's a long way to answer. Sorry.
All right, all right. So for me, elite and top tier maybe in general aren't in the same. But when I think about SimWorld Prep, about our league, the elite players and the top tier players, I guess I'm kind of grouping that together in our league specifically. And I don't know if I love that we've got, from you these qualifiers, but for me, I do think it's completely subjective. Like you said, like everyone's going to have their own, definition of what makes a player elite or puts them in the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think my opinion is that specifically in SimWorld Prep, but in general, I think the idea of an elite player gets tossed around too much. I think someone can be an elite shooter. I think they can be an elite facilitator. I think Draymond is elite at a few things. Defense, he's an elite defender, one of the best we've ever seen. He is an elite leader, communicator. But when I think, I guess when I'm talking top tier players, they are elite overall players.
And like yeah, they have more traits of eliteness than most do.
Exactly,
I got you.
It's like you said, a lot of people want to talk scoring, but to me, like if you're one of the best scorers in the league, you're absolutely an elite scorer. But it doesn't necessarily make you a top tier player just because you're an elite scorer. So for me, I think we throw the word around too much. To me, when I look at someone, for me to call them one of the top tier guys in SimWorld Prep, it means one, they're getting game planned for every game. There is not a game that they go into that the other team has not been trying to emulate them and trying to prepare for them specifically every single game. And so sometimes there might be players on teams that are not top tier players in SimWorld. There might be top tier talents, but they're not top tier players because they're on a loaded roster and they're not always the focal point. So for me, you that is one thing you have to a top tier player is always game planned for. This season, whenever someone goes against the Originators, they are game planning for Cooper Flag. They are trying to figure out how we are going to stop this guy. He is a top tier player. Teams are game planning for Arthur Lattimore. They are trying to figure out how to stop Arthur Lattimore. Teams are maybe we'll see how it goes this year, but
wait, hold on. Now I'm thinking about it now. You got me thinking about it. I agree with the Cooper Flag. Do you think Arthur Lattimore at this point will be? I guess you said this, Lance. I guess you do find him to be the top tier in SimWorld right now. Are the teams really game planning strictly for Lattimore?
Yes. I think team maybe not game planning because he's not as versatile as a Cooper Flag, but they are going into a game against Lone Star trying to figure out how to stop him. He is so good at being physical and strong down low, and it's the same thing to me as Trey Hyman. You don't game plan for a defender, but you do game plan for the physicality and the impact. And this is the second part of, for me, what makes a player top tier. It's the immediate individual impact they have on every game. They bring an impact whether they're touching the ball or not on defense, whatever it may be. There's a gravity to them when they're on the court, and that is what makes a player top tier because they are in that level of you can't ignore them. Whatever they're doing on the court, you cannot ignore them, regardless of where they are.
Can a top tier player be still considered a top tier player if his team can win without him?
And that's, I think you could be a top tier. Yes, my answer is yes, because to me, Trey Hyman is a top tier player in our league. Now, this is a hot take, and Trey, I love you. You're a great guy, and I think you're going to have a long, successful career. We've talked about this before, Trey. I think you've got some offensive development. To me, talent-wise, now impact-wise, he's a top 3 player in SimWorld. That I 100% believe, and I will stick to. Talent-wise, at the moment, what we've seen, I don't think he's a top 3 player in SimWorld. And that's talent. There are guys who are not as impactful as him because of what he brings on the defensive end, and that is talent. But he is not an all-around superstar talent. He is a superstar player in our league, and so there's a differentiation there. But I was saying, he makes an impact on the game regardless. On offense, you're either trying to box him out, make sure he doesn't get the ball, make sure he doesn't go up for an oop. On defense, you know where Trey Hyman is when you're on offense because you are not trying to be around him when you're putting the ball up. So for me, that's my thing. It's his impact.
So, give me your 5 top tier players in SimWorld right now.
Okay, so here's my question: are we talking top tier players or are we talking top tier talent? Because I
think you're talking top tier players, right?
Top tier players. If I'm talking the most impactful players,
top tier players.
If I'm talking the most impactful players in SimWorld, it's a pretty clear cut 5 for me. I'm going to leave your guy. I'm going to go ahead and tell you before I started that I'm leaving your guy TMW off it just because I haven't seen what he's done. Because he has not yet had an impact in SimWorld, I'm not about to call him a top 5 tiered player. But if I have to make, and I think the top tier could be more than 5 players. But if you want me to give you my top 5 in no order, it's Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, Trey Hyman, Arthur Lattimore, and Japhett Towns. To me, those are the guys that it's undeniable the impact they have on every single game. They do their thing. Some of them do different things than others, but they do their thing. And you will never forget where they are on the court. And so
You know what?
that's my thing
I'm
with
gonna
them.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something even higher. I'm gonna take an even higher take. I'm gonna double down on what C's saying, and I'm gonna say on those 5 players you said, Siege, I agree. But I'm gonna double down and say out of those 5, 2 of those 5 are not going to finish this top 5 on that list.
You wanna
And
get
those
real
and those
spicy? Tell me
and
who those are.
those and those 2 players who are not going to make it are going to be replaced. Would you like me to tell you who they're going to be replaced by?
Yeah, well, tell me who they are.
They're going to be replaced by the end of the year. They're going to be replaced by Nas Hall and KPJ.
All right,
I'm
and
dropping the mic on it right now.
look, I'm with it. I would, if I'm talking the
That's
total,
not going to finish.
if I'm talking S tier SimWorld Prep players, I think Knots Hall sneaks in at the end for me. I do consider him a top tier player in SimWorld overall. KPJ is not there yet, again, because while I have all of this hope for him and I really see his potential, and I know a lot of people do, I got to see it first. I got to see it be put onto the court before I say he's in that category with people. So,
And then if I add my man TMW, 3 players are going to drop out. Oh, it's going to be crazy. I'm telling y'all right now, October 25th. 3 of these 5 we talking about not gonna make it. They're gonna be 6, 7, and 8. We have a new 3, 4, and 5.
and there's our BLAZIN takes for the day promo for the show. Which I love. Look, I love it. You never know what's going to happen during the season, and who knows? One of these new guys that's one of the top, ranked recruits in all of basketball might not really just, acclimate to the SimWorld Prep game like we might think they will.
Yeah.
So it could be one of them. Everyone always excludes them, assuming that they are the guys, but we don't know yet. We don't know how they're gonna be in our league.
That's why they play the game.
But Rick, let's move on because we spent our time on this. I think we got out what we needed to say. So next one I want to talk about real quick. Let's talk about Rosario Vance. He's in an interesting situation. He fired Coach Loveless there was some beef between them, some talk back. Loveless is a very bold personality. We found out that Rosario Vance is also a very bold personality. So now not only is he the owner for Lakeshore Drive, he's the head coach. Which to me immediately makes me think of the movie Semi-Pro. Love Me Sexy, Jackie Moon, shout out.
Take off your shoes and sexy. That's my song. I know all those lyrics to that song, by the way.
Oh, I mean, I could sing it on cue, no problem. But this morning, Rick, it's interesting because this morning Rosario made I'm going to call it, he made a promise. You could call it a statement if you want, but he made a promise. He said, Lakeshore Drive, 20-plus wins this year, no problem. Yeah. It's easy. There were a couple people saying that's crazy, but he said, no problem. I'm the guy. I'm going to take this team to over 20 wins. Thoughts on the whole situation? Because this is a very unique thing we got going on with Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was going on with that statement. It was quite early to be hitting the bottle, so I don't know what's really going on. But yeah, 20 wins, guaranteeing 20 wins is wild. He does have a Jackie Moon. This whole situation has a Jackie Moon feel to it. If you never watched that movie, I'll make it real life. It has a Jerry Jones feel to it. This has a very Jerry Jones like feel to it. And if anybody keep up with sports, like I know, Jerry Jones hasn't won in a very, 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 very long time because Jerry Jones refused to get up Jerry Jones' way. So I think this is the situation we have here. I think this hurts the team more than it helps it.
For me, the jury's out. I'll be real. In that February, he made that promise about 20-plus wins. Me and him almost got into it because I was kind of like, when he said that, I said something. I was like, look, if any just regular coach was saying this, like, we would be calling him out for being, super outspoken and kind of showboating and making promises he doesn't know he can fill. And he came back at me, and I said, you know what? Jerry's out. Let me see what happens during the season. Maybe Rosario Vance is going to be one of the best coaches in SimWorld, and he's going to take that team to 20-plus wins. They got D'Angelo Jordan, so you can't really count him out. But it's certainly a unique situation that I'm not sure is going to be a positive one by the end of the season. So we'll see.
Now, on a personal level, I love his moxie. I love it. I love him saying, you know what? I can do this job better myself. I love my team. I love as a man. That's beautiful. I hope to do that one day too. But as a fan of the team or as a player, yeah, that ain't the brightest of ideas.
It worries me a little bit if I'm a fan of Lakeshore Drive, but again, I don't know. I've never seen him coach, so that's why I kind of took a step back and I was like, you know what? Let's see it. Show me. Let's see
Yeah,
what you got. So
it should be. It's gonna be fun, nevertheless. All right, so Siege, this is our we got two really good subject matters that we brought in. So before we wrap it up, we gotta wrap it up with our pick and roll segment. This is the time where I pick a topic and my man Siege rolls with it. He has no idea what the topic's gonna be, so he has to roll with it on the fly. Siege, we're doing a little deep dive into each other's personal business just a little bit. Um, Collectors. Most people collect something. Tell me one thing you collect, something interesting you collected as a boy, and something interesting that you collect right now as an adult.
as a kid, I was a big Yu-Gi-Oh card guy. I had a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I wouldn't say I like collected them. I wasn't like getting them graded and whatever and all that. But I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of them. I'd say I collected them. And then NBA jerseys. I had a lot of NBA jerseys. I liked having them. Um, as a man, I collect names, Rick. I collect names. I
You
don't know.
collect names.
I collect names. I collect names and I remember them and I put them on lists. And what's to be done with them? I don't know. Nah, but for on the real, I'm trying to think what I.
Wait, I was to do a deep dive, and I was like, wait, how does that work? Like you had me sold. I'm like, wait a minute, how does that work again? Like
uh,
I was 1,000% sold on whatever you were selling right then.
oh man. But what do I call as an adult? Nothing super specific, Rick. I guess I collect these
Okay,
bags. I collect these bags, and that's about it.
there you go. Click those. There you go. As a kid, I wasn't baseball, football core. I had some, but I didn't really care about them, so I didn't collect them. But I did say I collect. I did a collection of I used to video. No, I'm not good. I'm telling my age. Let's just say I had a collection of like all the toys. Collection of toys. My parents, I didn't pay for them, my parents did, but I had kid. My people loved coming to my house because they knew I was going to have the best of toys. So collecting toys as a kid. As an adult, I collect art paintings.
Love it.
I love paintings. I have several hanging in my house. I have others that are just waiting to be hung, but I don't have the space for it right now. So yeah, one thing I've gotten to as an adult is paintings and also albums. I collect albums. So paintings and albums. Oh, shoes. I'm a big shoe guy at this point. I have probably
Okay.
like 70, maybe 60 pairs. So shoes is probably number one. Shoes,
I
yeah.
actually all double back. I was actually a shoe guy in maybe from my 12-year-old to 20-year-old self. I did collect a lot of shoes. I haven't quite rebuilt my collection since, as we've talked about on a previous episode, I had that second house fire. Lost a lot
Yeah,
of them, but
man.
I was a shoe guy. I was a shoe guy for a while, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, let's custom this. Let's talk about it. Elite people. We kind of discussed it already. I want to drop some more information on that. But we got things to talk about. What's going on with the owner? And collections. What do you collect? What did you collect? What do you enjoy collecting? Put in the chat. Let's custom discuss. Till tomorrow. For Siege, I'm Rick Blaze. Holla.